Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. Really excited to talk with everybody today. I know we're expecting a large group, and yes, the pleasure of working from home. There's my dog. We'll give everybody a minute here to kind of sign in and get situated. All right, I see the numbers have come to a plateau, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be talking about clean and seal and how to succeed with duct cleaning and duct sealing services and how it's a huge differentiator for your business. I'm really excited because we have two experts with us today, and we'll be introducing those folks to you here in just a second. Give you a quick breakdown of the agenda. We'll start off with talking about why homeowners get their ducts cleaned. And then we'll jump into the effects of dirty ductwork, what duct cleaning does and what it doesn't do. There's a lot of misconceptions about what it does and doesn't do out there. And then how duct cleaning and duct sealing can help you offer more to your homeowners. And then we'll talk in depth about what duct sealing is. We'll do a quick recap. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll leave about 10-15 minutes for question and answers from the audience. All right, so let's dive in. I'll do my introduction really super fast because it's really all about these other two guys. I'm Tracy Martin. I'm the Director of Dealer Development here at Aeroseal, but who you're really excited to meet are the next two gentlemen. So we'll start with Mike.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Palzola. I also go by MJ. I am the president of Safety King Air Duct Cleaning. We are about 20 miles north of Detroit in Michigan. We've been at this air duct cleaning thing for quite a while, since 1969. We have about 22 people on staff currently. And I've been in the industry myself for my entire life. My dad founded this business, and so I'm second generation. I've been doing it since I was a child. It was a fun Saturday for me to go out in the truck with Dad. So over time, my role has grown. Our company does about 5,500 cleanings annually right now. We're also heavily involved in NADCA. I'm sure we have a number of NADCA members around. We're actually the only founding member company that's left at NADCA. My dad's one of the original 12 companies that founded that. We are still heavily involved in NADCA, and I'm on several committees there. Wanted to tell you a little bit about what I do. I help people breathe cleaner air, and as far as a service provider, that's what we get to provide, a more comfortable life for people. But really, what I do with my job here is I get to help my employees as well. We provide a really great workplace for 22 people to pay their bills, have some fun in their lives, take care of their obligations, and live a comfortable life. So that's why I do what I do. I'll be happy to elaborate if you want to know any more about me, but I love what I do.
Awesome. And next we have Mr. Tom Keys.
Again, Tom Keys, president of Atlantic Duct Cleaning in Manassas, Virginia. We've been NADCA certified since 1995, 25 years in the air duct cleaning business. In that time, we've done over 130,000 duct cleaning projects. We have an annual run rate of over 10,000 duct cleanings we do. We have a staff of 35 people. And since 2008, we've done over 10,000 Aeroseal projects. So we've got quite a bit of experience with doing both cleans and seals.
So you're pretty new then. You just barely got started, is what you're saying. Hey, Tom, you have such a booming voice and you have lots of good information to share. I'm going to ask you to get just a tiny bit closer to your microphone.
Okay.
I want the group to be able to hear you, and I'm having just a little bit of trouble hearing you. Mike, is he coming clear?
Okay, great.
I can hear him all right.
Okay, very good. All right, well, so you guys are in for a treat. These are your esteemed experts, and we're going to make the conversation today kind of interactive. Both Mike and Tom are going to chime in all throughout the presentation and give you real world expert opinions and insights as we delve into the topic today. Okay, So we'll start off with an obvious question. Why do homeowners purchase duct cleaning? And you take a look on the screen, and these are some obvious motivations. They have their family in mind, their family's health in mind. They are concerned about air quality, sure. Just because, sure. Maybe they get a great coupon in the mail, and then just because they feel like doing some duct cleaning. But really, Tom and MJ, or Mike, can tell us with much more detail the real reasons that homeowners are purchasing duct cleaning. So let's start with Mike.
Well, people are purchasing air duct cleaning because they want to feel safe and secure in their home. I think that's the primary reason. You know, you get the reducing dust in their home, taking care of that expensive equipment that they have, helping with allergies and issues that the occupants might have. Those are just a number of the reasons, but you know, ultimately, who wants all that yuck in their ductwork?
Right. And Tom, would you say anything differently, or would you add to that?
Absolutely, same thing. People want peace of mind is what they're buying. Hey, they're doing what they can, kind of controlling their controllables, cleaning their ductwork's kind of a nesting instinct. They want to make sure that the nest, the home, is as healthy and comfortable as possible.
Yep, and I think in a couple slides we'll probably make this point again, but we talk a lot about this when we're conducting training with our dealers, and really nobody's purchasing duct cleaning, nobody's buying HVAC, nobody's buying duct, they're buying the end result. That's why they're buying something. And you guys just named all those reasons, to keep their family healthy, to keep their family safe, to be more comfortable. That's why they're purchasing. So good to hear that what we think is on point with what you guys see every day in the field. So duct cleaning's been around a long time. It's not new, but I think lately, especially lately, it's something that has really gained some new focus. It's more emphasized these days, especially coming out the other side of, well, maybe not all the way out the other side of COVID, but starting to come out the other side of COVID. But if we take a look at some of the information here on the screen, homeowners are concerned because of the amount of time that they spend indoors. Now, that stat you see that says on average homeowners spend approximately 90% of their time indoors, that stat was prior to the pandemic. So you think about all of the work from home and shelter in place orders that are out there, I expect that number is even higher now, right? But no matter how you look at it, you're spending the majority of your time indoors and you're breathing indoor air. So of course, wanting it to be as clean and healthy as possible makes perfect sense. And then you think about your indoor air quality, and you have folks who are more susceptible, folks who are older or very young, or folks who have cardiovascular or respiratory issues. And those are also the types of individuals who spend even more than 90% of their time indoors. So it becomes even more important for those types of individuals. And then, of course, you know, I don't think you can get around the topic of COVID today. It's everywhere. So with that, in every direction you turn and a topic everywhere you look, I think that safety and health are on everybody's mind right now, which in many cases comes back to duct cleaning, right? Take it a little further, people are breathing in about 15,000 or more quarts of air per day. Boy, I want all 15,000 of those quarts to be healthy as I'm pulling them into my body. So sometimes that air is not as healthy as we want it to be. There can be dust and pollutants and things that can trigger conditions like asthma, which can sometimes be a result of dirty ductwork. EPA has ranked indoor air pollution as one of the top 5 environmental dangers. And you guys have seen this statistic many times, but your indoor air can be 2 to 5 times more polluted than the outdoor air. I think that's bananas. And then what's great about duct cleaning is the point that we just made on the previous slide. homeowners aren't buying duct cleaning, they're buying healthier air. And duct cleaning is one of those services that does provide an instant, immediate gratification for a homeowner. As soon as the service is done, you start breathing in, and you've got that immediate gratification because you're instantly breathing healthier air. So it's not just the dust that's hiding in the ductwork. Although you've got terms like dirty ductwork, and that implies that you've got dust accumulation inside the ductwork, there's a lot more that can be found in dirty ductwork. It can actually attract other things, other agents that are harmful and hazardous. But you look at that quick list of bullets there, you know, they're going to be things like dust mites, pollen, dander, mold and mildew, fungal spores, bacteria and viruses, dirt, and then unwanted pests and insects and rodents. I'll just tell one quick story, and then I'm going to let Tom and Mike tell you, because they're out there dealing with this every single day. I was speaking with a homeowner this week who was asking some questions about clean and seal services. And she said that she was doing some investigating in her home, and she literally found a shoe, a child's shoe in her ductwork. And then she said, and I don't have kids. So she didn't know where the shoe had come from, probably a previous homeowner. We've heard other homeowners talk about raccoons that get into the ductwork and don't make it. So they crawl up in there and then they just die. But Tom, let's let you tell some real world stories. What kinds of crazy things have you found in ductwork?
You can just imagine anything you could think of, from original construction to we've actually over 130,000 jobs. We found 6 diamond rings where it's fallen down behind somebody's dresser and down into floor register. We have a lot of floor registers in our market, and people never thought to look down there. So over that amount of jobs, we found jewelry, found stashed money. We found, you know, just crazy stuff that we found in the main trunk line, several chicken carcasses that were from the construction crew. They got done eating, and instead of putting it in the trash, they thought it was best to just tuck it up in the ductwork. It'd be easier to do that. So we just find unbelievable stuff in there.
Wow. Mike, how about you?
Well, you know, and just like Tom, anyone that's been in the industry for any while knows that it's a perfect hiding place. And it's anything from the builder's lunch, construction debris. We've found multitude of times money, drugs, bullets, all those things that would go together. And of course, you'd hide those in the ductwork, right? Yeah, we've been successful finding people's jewelry. We've also found people's pets most of the time after they've passed, but occasionally when they're alive. One story though that I remember from back in the day was we were cleaning the ductwork at this home, and the mother had a daughter that had grown up, and we found a clarinet stuffed down in the register. And the mom, you know, I guess the daughter had played this through high school or middle school, and the mom just kept going on about all those payments she had to make on that thing.
Wow. That, you know, you just said something that triggered a really great point that I thought of here. All kinds of, it's a great hiding place, I think is what you said. And that's a great point, because it is hidden, whatever's lurking in the ductwork. And so sometimes we don't think about it because we can't see it. But if we could see it, holy cow, we would want to fix it in a lot of those cases. If I found old chicken bones in my ductwork, I would definitely want to fix that, get it out of there. I don't want to breathe that. But what a great point that it's hidden. We need to help people think about what they can't see, right? So dirty ductwork has many health implications, and we've already talked a little bit about that, but dirty ductwork can be the main driver in the term that we hear a lot about in the industry, sick building syndrome. And I'm not going to read through every one of these bullet points. You guys can kind of read along as we're talking, we've heard all kinds of stories from homeowners who have had health issues. And they've been to the doctor, they can't figure out what's making them sick. And long story short, they ended up finding out that it was their home that was making them sick. And then the good news is our dealers have been able to provide solutions to improve the air quality, which thereby has improved the quality of life for so many people in so many different places. So that's why I imagine both Tom and Mike love what they do. Healthier air leads to healthier lives, which leads to happier people. But Tom, I'll start with you. I don't know if you have any particular stories or examples of homes that have made some of your customers sick and how you've been able to help them make their air better and their lives better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of a process of elimination. People are not sure what's making them sick, you know, and the indoor environmental hazards have really become a big deal. I'm kind of an old timer. I'm in my 50s, and when I was young, nobody had allergies. No, we never had. There were no EpiPens. There were nobody with peanut allergies. It really didn't exist. People could be allergic to penicillin or allergic to a bee sting. You know, now you think about it. There's in schools. There's nut-free tables and nut-free schools, and it's just a different thing. And today's indoor environment, it's much tighter. They're building houses tighter. We have less air changes. So indoor air quality and clean environment and clean ductwork mean more today than ever.
Yep. How about you, Mike?
Well, you know, health implications. Just this morning, we had a job that we went on, and the gentleman there said that for the last 9 months or so, he's been going to doctors because he's been having such terrible health issues. And one of the first questions they asked him is do you have mold in your house? And he told them up and down, no, I don't. So we got into his crawl space today and looked inside of his ductwork, and we could see tons of visible suspect mold. So this guy's been breathing this for, you know, who knows how long, but that's probably the cause of his discomfort. So we're going to come back to that job, but you know, it's one of those out of sight, out of mind things. If you don't know it's there, now he knows it's there, so he can go about solving this issue and live a more comfortable, healthy life. We'll be back to clean his ductwork, of course, but it's amazing what you find when you look.
Yep.
And the health implications that are attached to that.
Yeah, you're right. And you know, IAQ, it's a big motivator for me, and I think it's a big motivator for homeowners everywhere. But it's not just about IAQ. And when I say it, I'm talking about dirty ductwork. Dirty ductwork doesn't just create poor indoor air quality. It can create other issues, like it can put a restriction on the airflow inside the ductwork, and that can have an effect on the overall circulation or distribution of air in the duct system and then throughout the home. The dirty conditions inside the ductwork can actually put a burden on the HVAC equipment, and it can shorten the lifespan. So it can create buildup over time, and then those really important, really expensive internal components like the coil and the fan, it can clog them up, and then you got to replace them or the whole unit sooner than anybody ever wants to. Because I don't know many people who are excited when they have to replace their units. It can also cost a lot more to homeowners in terms of maintenance. So if you continue to ignore what's hidden and you continue to leave your ductwork dirty, then you could be forced to upkeep with your filter exchange much more often. Or you have to schedule more frequent maintenance on your AC and furnace. Or you might just have more service calls in general because you have this condition inside your duct that is affecting the performance of your HVAC equipment. And until you treat the thing that is affecting your HVAC equipment, it's going to continue to perform at a lower quality than the homeowner would want it to. And then, the final bullet point, that's kind of a fun one for me to talk about. And Tom and Mike, I don't want to make assumptions, but I certainly don't like to dust, but I'm the only one here who will do it. So the less amount of time I can spend dusting, the happier I am. I don't know. I don't want to assume. Do you fellas dust?
Absolutely. I don't enjoy doing it, but no, there's a finite amount of dust that's in your house, and if you get rid of the source, it's like having a good filter on your vacuum cleaner and a good filter on your a house with a HEPA filtered vacuum cleaner is going to be much less dusty than one with a regular like Hoover or Eureka vacuum. And the filter makes a big difference too. So it is duct cleaning reduces the source, which in turn reduces the amount of dusting that somebody needs to do.
Yeah. Yep. Mike, how about you? Are you a duster?
Yes, I'm a duster. We dust the inside of the ductwork every day.
There you go.
All these houses that we go into, everyone's got these big screen TVs and they're like dust catchers. Everyone's focal point, and they're bigger and bigger, and they catch more and more dust. What a great example. And all the furnishings that people are putting in their house, it seems like they just show the dust like crazy. So after you've done this service and cleaned their ductwork, there's usually a very noticeable difference in the dust levels.
Yeah. So we made this point a few slides back, but duct cleaning is fantastic because it offers instant gratification for your customers. They can see a difference, and I'll let both Mike and Tom tell you about how you can show them the difference. But you see this picture down here. This is a classic before and after of a dirty duct and then a clean duct. So it's easy to show a homeowner that thing that they may not have looked at. But you can bring the attention to them. They can smell a difference. Dirty ducts can lead to unwanted odors in the home. So the first time you start breathing in that cleaner air, your house smells fresher. And then feeling and experiencing a difference, that of course is key as well. So Mike, why don't we start with you? Speak a little bit about how you see duct cleaning as the kind of service that provides instant gratification.
I think you laid it out here perfectly. And the first point you make is seeing the difference. And people see the difference in their environment after we leave in the coming days and weeks. But taking pictures inside the ductwork, that's a must in today's industry. Every one of our jobs, we're taking pictures to not only document this for our own records, if you don't document it, it didn't happen, but to show the customer, it's proof that the ductwork's now clean. And some of these shots are so dramatic, they really make great marketing tools too.
Yeah, I know you have a lot of great photos on your website. So pictures are always worth 1,000 words, right? So that's a great point. Tom, how about you?
Same thing. Years ago when we started, we didn't have camera phones, and we had old clunky, very expensive VCR driven video systems that weren't very, they were probably $3,000, $3,500 back then, and they had VCRs with them. And now the quality of these camera phones are just amazing, that we can do videos, we can do on-site, and we just put them in their service file for that day in our service dispatch system. And then we have a record of what was done or what wasn't done. And that really goes a long way with the customer. One thing I would speak to with when Mike touched on with the marketing and before and after, how important it is. 25 years ago, it used to take us 22 minutes to talk to a customer, convince them about all the benefits of duct cleaning, and have them book a job. 25% of our jobs today, our customers do not speak to the office. They schedule through an online portal without talking to us. And then the ones that do talk to us are scheduled within 90 seconds. So they've already vetted us. They've already seen the online pictures. They've seen everything. So today versus 25 years ago is a very, very different climate. And there's before and after. having the people touch and feel the difference. You know, we'll have an 85-year-old customer want to climb up on the ladder and look down inside of the ductwork, and we'll say, listen, we'll take a picture of it, you know. So it's very, very effective.
Yeah, okay. Oops, sorry about that. So kind of moving on a little bit deeper into the topic here. We opened up the presentation by saying we're going to talk about clean and seal. And duct cleaning is one part of the solution. We want to look, though, at the bigger picture, the larger issue at hand. Why is the ductwork dirty in the first place? Is it just a naturally dusty environment? Is the homeowner a DIY kind of homeowner? They're doing a lot of home improvement projects like sanding or hardwood floors or lumber cutting. Who knows? But maybe they do a lot of do-it-yourself type projects inside the home. Or do they have some significant duct leakage in their home that can be adding to the indoor air quality issue? And we know that in most cases, most homes do have duct leakage. And you take a look at the final point here on this slide. Duct cleaning alone, it removes the current buildup, but it doesn't necessarily provide a remedy against future buildup inside of the ductwork. But let's keep talking about it, because I don't want to mislead. Duct cleaning and duct sealing work awesome together. We need each other. It's not that one's better than the other. It's just that we work really well together. We need each other. Right, guys? We need each other. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about why duct cleaning and duct sealing as a bundle service, a clean and seal type service, is such a great opportunity. So let me just kind of run through these points quickly, and then I want Tom and Mike to talk about this in much more detail, because they're the experts and they're the ones out there making, having success with it, making money and making homeowners happy with their clean and seal services. So from the homeowner's perspective, you've got added confidence and satisfaction. Confidence because as someone who can provide a clean and seal service, you're educating the homeowner in a more thorough way, a more holistic way, and you're differentiating yourself from the competition. Everybody else who walks in the door or picks up the phone isn't going to be talking about a clean and seal. They're going to be talking about a clean. You're going to be different because you've got a full scope kind of solution. And that is going to lead to a more satisfied customer. So it tackles short-term and long-term issues. You've now taken the HVAC system and you've given it the opportunity to perform the way it was designed to perform. It can now do its job fully. There's nothing in its way from being efficient and providing comfort in the home. And then you have, well, okay, I kind of made that point already. So we'll skip down to for the contractors. So for the contractors, of course, when you're bundling any services, there's an added, there's a revenue benefit for you. There's a growth potential for you, especially because you're differentiating yourself. Now you're not like everybody else. And what's great about this is there's a good chance as a duct cleaning company, you're already in, I don't know how many homes, but lots of homes every day, every week, all around the year, right? So you're already in front of homeowners and they're already calling you because they have an air quality concern. I mean, 9 times out of 10, if somebody's scheduling duct cleaning services, it's probably because they have some sort of motivation to have healthier indoor air most of the time. And we talked about that at the beginning of the webinar here. So you're already there, you know the homeowner already cares, and now you can tell a bigger, a more powerful story and provide a more complete solution for that homeowner. And then adding on these other services means a higher ticket value for you, and that's good for you. And then, you know what, how about I quit babbling and let me let Mike and Tom tell you a little bit more about it, because they're out there doing this every day. So why don't we start with, Mike, why don't we start with you?
But of course, the one that you said that attracts a lot of people is making more money, and there is a great opportunity to make more money doing this. But for me, I think that the real point that got me into this and keeps me really excited about Aeroseal and having this as part of our repertoire is that it really makes us a more sophisticated service. It is a differentiator, but somebody said something to me a few years ago that I found kind of profound, actually. They said, as duct cleaners, we do all this training, we work very hard at what we do, but some people just think of us as like janitors. And I don't want to be thought of that way. By doing the seal, we kind of take it to the next level. We're really helping with a total comfort solution to be a real part of that, and that makes us a more sophisticated service. And that helps us out, that helps our clients out, and that helps out the way that we see ourselves, the way our employees see what we do. I think they carry themselves a little different than some guy that's a dust sucker. They know that we have a few more tricks in the bag and that we can help people at a deeper level. So it's really been terrific for us, and it continues to be an important and growing part of our business.
Tom, how would you answer this slide? What would you say to this slide?
Well, for the contractors, the added benefit is the bundle, is merging those two services together, because the prep work is very much the same. You're taking registers and grills off, you're blocking off the furnace, you're blocking off the air handlers. All the prep work is the same, and you're able to do these two services within one day with your existing personnel. So that's been the biggest benefit, that it's just, and the strongest thing is very few things in this world to where you can do test in and test out and hand the client a piece of paper that shows how successful the process was. You're able to quantify and say, here's how much you were losing, here's the reduction in leakage, and here's the increase in capacity. Not necessarily efficiency. People get caught up in the word efficiency. It is the capacity. It's the ability for that air conditioning or heating system to heat or cool your house. And that's the real advantage. There's very few things in this world that you provide a service. If you go to a sub shop, they can't tell how satisfied you are by a report that comes out after you eat a steak and cheese. So here it's fabulous. We're able to quantify and show in real time how much of a benefit it made.
Yeah, and let me call on you guys one more time. We'll kind of stay on this for just a second. We like to talk about the fact that offering a clean and seal bundle leads to a more satisfied client, right? Homeowner. There was a before and after. There was a time when you didn't have Aeroseal, but you were a duct cleaning company. And then there's the after. And since then, you've been able to offer the clean and seal bundle. Have you seen a difference in your ability to really fully satisfy your customers now with that kind of bundled service? Tom, we'll start with you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The customers, we're solving a problem, and from a business standpoint, it's fabulous because you can just do the math. In the last 12 years, we've done over 10,000 Aeroseals at the going price point's around $2,000 per seal. So it's a tremendously beneficial thing for our business as well.
And Mike, how about you?
Well, I love helping people solve these issues, and usually they're working on other solutions as well. One of the ones that sticks out on a day like today, in Detroit here, it's 92 degrees, and you can cut the humidity with a knife. Helping people solve humidity issues. That's something that's usually noticeable right away. I remember actually, when we got into this, I went out and visited Tom's company, and one of the projects that we went out to visit had a return running through a chase that attached to the attic, and they were pulling in all sorts of humidity, and that was the comfort issue. It was that they were pulling all this humidity into their system, and it was causing an uncomfortable home. I love being able to help people feel more comfortable in their home, and this is just one more tool to help us do that.
Yep, great points. Those are great points. So Tom, I'm gonna take what you said and I'm gonna revise the way I present this information. We said that dirty ductwork is about more than just air quality. And we were saying it's also about efficiency, but I really kind of like the way you just said it. It's about capacity. So I'm gonna walk you guys through this slide quickly, but before I do, here's what I'll give you an analogy to kind of explain what we mean. HVAC equipment is designed to operate at a certain efficiency, and there's nothing, it's labeled with a SEER number, right? The higher the number, the more efficient the system is. And we like to say it's kind of like miles per gallon. So let's say you buy a car and it's advertised and designed to be a car that operates at, we'll say, 70 miles per gallon. Okay, but let's say that car has holes in the gas tank. You're never going to get 70 miles per gallon out of that car, right? There's nothing wrong with the design of the car, the motor, the engine. It's designed to be efficient. It's designed to achieve 70 miles per gallon. But until you address the fact that you have holes in the gas tank, you're not going to be able to get that capacity out of the car, right? So when we look at this data on the screen here, that's really kind of the story that we're trying to tell. Now, this data did not come from us. This data was collected by the U.S. Department of Energy. And what it says in short is that if you look at this, take a 16 SEER system. A 16 SEER system with just 30% leakage in the system can affect and I'll use it the way Tom explained it, which I think makes a lot of sense. It can affect the capacity of the system overall, or its ability to distribute the air efficiently and provide the most comfort in the home. So that 16 SEER can deliver the experience of like what an 8 SEER would with just 30% leakage. And we know that most ducts leak somewhere between 25 and 40%. So 30% is pretty average. So we aren't, and the U.S. Department of Energy is not trying to say that dirty ductwork or leaky ductwork can affect the efficiency of the machinery. That's not what we're saying. But what we're saying is it affects the experience that the homeowner is paying for. They're paying for comfortable air. They want their system to be as efficient as what they thought it was going to be. And if you have holes in your ductwork, it's just not going to deliver the experience that they had hoped for. Tom, Mike, I know that HVAC is not really your world, but you're working on a system that's often a much bigger piece of the pie when you're talking about an HVAC system. So I don't know if you guys want to sprinkle in any comments on this slide here. Tom?
Yeah, I would say one of the analogies we give is the same thing you did. If you buy a hybrid car and if everybody who's driving their car around, no matter what car they have, if they're leaking 35% of their fuel, there'd be a revolution. People would go crazy. People don't realize that they're leaking 25 to 35% is the average pre-test that we do before we do an Aeroseal job. And people don't realize it. And they spend much, much more heating and cooling their house than they do. If gasoline's $2 a gallon these days, and people are driving less and less, you're seeing so much savings in people who've had their ducts sealed. It's just an incredible. It's not only savings, but the comfort factor of it. It just makes such a big impact on comfort and savings.
Yep. Mike, how about you?
Yeah, one of the analogies I like is the garden hose or the bucket with holes in it. And that's really funny, like in an old timey movie, they're trying to put a fire out and they walk over there with the bucket and it's half empty already. But this really is meaningful to people that are kind of green, that are thinking about efficiency and how we use energy to get everything that we're putting in, that we're expecting. But when it hits people's pocketbook, I think that's where they really feel it. and to be able to help deliver that efficiency that they're expecting, by increasing the capacity. It's that's kind of in my wheelhouse. Let's stay green, let's conserve this energy that we have and use it properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so moving into duct sealing a little bit here. Duct sealing is not something that has always been required. In fact, up until about 2009, there really was no code enforcement across the country for duct sealing. But since then, we're starting to see codes become very stringent, and in many places, the code requirements are for such duct tightness that it's tough to achieve it by hand. And so we're starting to see pockets of increased activity in terms of Aeroseal duct sealing, because it's just hard to get there by hand sealing. And you look at the construction statistics here. A study from 2016 estimates that 96% of owner-occupied homes were built in 2009 or prior. So if you think about that, that means that 96%, that means almost all the homes out there in 2016 were built before there were duct tightness codes in place. So what does that equal in terms of the number of homes? We're talking about 115 million homes. So what does that mean? What that means is there is no shortage of opportunity out there in terms of duct sealing and in terms of duct cleaning and sealing, right? Tom's shared with you the number of seals that he's done since he's been part of the network, but he's not running out of opportunity anytime soon. It sounds like a really big number, but Tom, there's a lot more to go around in your market, and there will be for quite a while. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, it's really an untapped market, and it's not going to go away. A very successful Aeroseal contractor would do 500 seals a year. Okay, and there's very few of those people. And you take into consideration how many homes, how many multifamily dwellings, how many commercial dwellings. The market is endless. One stat that Mike and I could probably share with you, just duct cleaning alone, you have a situation where I asked somebody one time, what percentage of people do you think have their carpets professionally cleaned? And they'd say, I don't know, 30, 40%. And the answer is about 20 to 25%. And then if you ask the same question, what percentage of people have the air ducts cleaned, it's only about 2 to 3% at 330 million people in the country. So a sliver of that would be the people who have or are planning on having their air ducts sealed. So there's such a market out there, and the duct cleaning market with 2 to 3% is $1 billion market. So there's so much capacity and so much untapped demand out there. It's just amazing.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know that I knew that statistic, and I'm a little bit surprised to hear that. So that is, wow, that's a really powerful point. Okay, so duct sealing isn't your thing. We'll try to give you a little bit more to think about then, I guess, on that. So Aeroseal solves the learning curve for duct sealing. What do we mean by that? What we mean by that is there are other ways to seal ductwork. You can seal ductwork by hand using mastic or tape, but we say it's an art. It is something that takes time to become proficient and effective at doing. And the other thing that does present a challenge with hand sealing is unless you have other tools on hand, there's no real way to know how effective you are with the hand sealing. You're kind of guessing to some degree. With Aeroseal, you have a computer that is monitoring minute by minute the improvement that you're making. And so you can watch the progress of the sealing, and you know how effective you are at sealing up the ductwork. Where with mastic and tape, in some ways you have to wait until the test. So that can be a bit of a learning curve with the hand sealing approach. With Aeroseal, you know before and after, and you don't have to struggle with the hope that you've made an improvement. I mean, you're making an improvement either way, but we'll talk a little bit more about the process, and I think it'll make more sense in a minute here. So Aeroseal brings flexibility and efficiency by turning an unpredictable task, a manual task, into something more consistent and dependable. So Aeroseal, we describe it as the safest and single most effective method of sealing ductwork available today. It is a patented and proven technology. It's been around for 20 plus years. So it's not something that we just started doing. It's been around for a long time. We know it works. And then Aeroseal, it improves customer satisfaction in so many different ways. It targets one of the reasons that ducts get dirty, and it does provide a root cause solution. So the leaks in the ductwork can add to the reason that the ducts are dirty. And so by using Aeroseal duct sealing services, you are covering up those leaks, you're sealing those leaks, and you're preventing one of the reasons that ductwork gets dirty. You're blocking that entry point, and you're providing a more permanent solution. And then, you think about all of the benefits that Aeroseal packs in one punch, and there really is no other product like it out there. So what we mean by that is Aeroseal can improve comfort in a home. Mike talked about this earlier. Humidity. Humidity is a huge issue. When we're talking about comfort, really, humidity is that factor that people don't always think about and don't always talk about, but humidity is what makes all the difference in the world. It's not so much the temperature, it's the humidity that makes us the most uncomfortable. So again, you heard Mike talk about leakage on the return side of the duct, pulling in really humid air. For those of you who know who Ken Summers is, there's a statistic that he talks about very often, and I've heard it many times, so I can share it with you. Just 100 CFM of leakage, which is not a lot, and Tom and Mike can tell you that's not a lot. In most cases, we're seeing a lot more leakage than 100 CFM, but just 100 CFM of leakage in a return duct system can add 10 gallons of water to the duct system in a 24-hour cycle. That's crazy. You have that much water in the duct, and it's going to be tough to regulate the comfort and the humidity levels in the home. So humidity control is another big benefit that Aeroseal can deliver on. And then air quality, of course, especially if you're offering a clean and seal bundle. Aeroseal leads to more energy efficiency in the home. And then it also leads to longer lifespan of your HVAC equipment. And that's good news for the homeowner, because that's a big investment, and homeowners want their HVAC system to last as long as it can. Aeroseal redefines duct sealing. So the way our technology works is it seals the ductwork from the inside. And it's great because it has no limitations. So with hand sealing, you can only seal what you can reach. And I have little arms, so I wouldn't be able to reach very much. But Aeroseal can access all of the leaks. The leaks in the ducts that are hidden behind the walls, in the floors, or in those just really hard to reach places. So no limitations in terms of access, because we're sealing from the inside. And then in terms of how big of a hole can we seal, we can seal holes up to 5/8 of an inch. If you start running into holes that are bigger than that, we're going to recommend that you seal it by hand first. And it's kind of a trick question. We can seal holes, that are bigger than that. It just becomes difficult to control the sealant, right? So the other big benefit here is that Aeroseal, when used in places where you have duct tightness codes, you don't have to worry about passing that inspection. We're able to achieve, and in most cases, surpass code requirements on the first attempt. There's no going back a second time because you know at the end of the job, you know how tight that ductwork is. And then I think you heard Tom talk about it earlier. We're able to print out the proof of the work that you've done. So you're able to show the before, the after, and the minute-by-minute sealing data on a certificate and hand that certificate to your customer, which is really cool because now they have tangible, verified proof that you've made an improvement for them in their home. And I think we have, we have an example of what those certificates look like in just one more slide here. I'm going to go kind of fast on this because we're getting close to the end of the presentation, and I want to make sure there's enough time for Q&A. You heard the gentleman make this point earlier. The prep work in terms of duct cleaning and Aeroseal are nearly identical. There's a whole lot that is the same. So in both cases, you have to prep the house with foam blocks. You have to block off the registers. You have to block off the coil and the fan. In most cases with duct sealing, you're making an injection point. You can use that same injection point to connect your plastic tubing. We call it lay flat tubing. You can use the same injection point that you're using for duct cleaning. You can use that for Aeroseal duct sealing. And Mike and Tom, I'll call on you guys real quick if you want to expand a little bit on the time savings, the labor savings that comes into play when you're able to share some of that prep work for your clean and seal services. Why don't we start with Mike?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you already are doing a lot of those steps, and especially if you're doing a same-day project, Tom touched on it. You're already prepped. You do a duct cleaning, and you're already prepped. Halfway or more for doing a duct seal. One of the additional steps is putting the foam blocks in. But if you know that you're doing a seal, you could do that as part of your cleaning. We're in a lot of cases taking the registers off already. We're using our grill mask product to seal vents and things. So those are already part of both processes.
Yep. Tom, anything you want to add on that?
No, absolutely. It makes all the difference in the world. I joke with people, it's not duct cleaning by itself is not magic. Aeroseal is not magic, but the combination of both of them, if you go and we find that to be our most profitable combination. When we go out and if we do 3 air duct cleanings in a day, and we do an Aeroseal in a new construction and it's a seal only, and we're not doing it with duct cleaning, we find that project might take us 6.5 to 7.5 hours. Whereas if we do duct cleaning as well, we're getting an additional $500 for that service. We're driving to one location and it's taking another 1.5 to 2 hours to do the duct cleaning, where it might take 3 to 4 hours if it was only duct cleaning by itself. So it's the combination of both. I would say if you're a restaurant, somebody comes in and orders an entree and doesn't order an appetizer or a dessert, same type of thing. The person's already sitting at your table. It's the more yield you have per client.
Yeah,
it all comes
great analogies, doesn't he?
It all comes back to food. It's all about food.
And for the audience, I will encourage you, go ahead and start sending any questions that you have, start sending those in. And in a second here, we're going to open it up for those questions. So we described what the certificates look like. Now you can see a picture. So thank you, Mike. Mike supplied us with some example certificates. So these are from his company. And you can see as you look on the screen there, you've got a graph that starts at wherever this one on the left here is starting at a little over 350 CFM. And then at the end of the process, you can see it's down in the single digits. So, and then you've got the overall sealing results, which quantify it in terms of, hey, if you added up all these holes, they would be as big as an 86 square inch hole. Wow, that's a big hole, right? So it's homeowner friendly, and it paints a very complete picture of what you've done throughout the sealing process. Mike, I don't know if you want to add anything to how you're using the certificates, but I know they're very powerful because, it's that tangible proof, but anything you want to add here?
Great marketing tools. They provide proof to the customer that their home has had this verified improvement, and we know that we're doing the job the right way. So it's really great to have this everything documented as you're going along. You know, it's minute by minute. It tells you what how we're improving as we go. I can't speak enough about this. You know, we carry around a book of seals, and we it's one of the things, along with pictures, that we show to prospective clients, and you know, it's like a picture. It speaks 1,000 words.
Yep, awesome. All right, so let's kind of wind it out here. Duct cleaning and duct sealing, it's the ultimate duo, and we should have just changed this to what Tom said. It's like the appetizer and the dessert, instead of just eating the entree all by itself. The combination offer of duct cleaning and Aeroseal is helping contractors across the country recover lost revenue, increase their average ticket sales, provide more service options, maintain, even boost their revenue during those slower seasons, slower months throughout the year. It's a big differentiator for your business, and we've talked a lot about how it increases customer satisfaction. So let's open it up now for questions. Let me see here. See if we have, we do have one. All right. So we will start with, how about Tom? What type of duct cleaning are you recommending?
They're probably saying what type of equipment.
I think.
You think?
I'm thinking that might be what he means, yeah.
Yeah, it really, there's no specific equipment. Mike uses a very powerful truck mounted unit. On some commercial jobs, he may use portable HEPA filtered units. You want to go, NADCA has a buyer's guide, and Mike can speak to this as well, which goes over all the different manufacturers of equipment. There's no specific manufacturer or specific equipment. It's just a matter of taste. And to give you an example, in Mike's market, there are two very large contractors up there that use very powerful vacuum trucks. And they have hand-in returns, and they have a different style systems than we have in the DC metro area. In our market, it's primarily portable systems. So it depends on the market you're in. You want to investigate what you have, what type of duct systems they have, whether there's panned returns, those types of things, and reach out through NADCA. And they have a NADCA's buyer's guide, and they have associate members in NADCA that represent all the different manufacturers.
Okay. Mike, anything to add on that?
You know, there's a variety of equipment out there, and we are partial to the power vacuum trucks. There's a couple of great manufacturers of those. There are power vacuum units that can be installed into vans. They're kind of, you know, hybrids, halfways. There's a lot of great electric portable equipment. We also use that. One thing that I would caution anyone about is, like a lot of things, trying to go cheap. Trying to get into the business and go as cheap as possible. You can really end up, you know, kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face kind of thing. I don't know. It's a penny. What is it? Penny wise, pound foolish. You end up really hurting yourself if you don't get the right equipment, and then also the right training.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We have quite a few questions, so let me jump in here to the next one. This is a multi-layered question, so Mike and Tom, keep up here. Are you able to clean an entire home duct system with a one-man crew? How long does it take? What is the average bill per home? And then he says, the cheap coupons that are out there give customers the idea that duct cleaning is easy and cheap. How do you combat that? That's a big question, right?
Yeah, I'll touch on the last part first. It's you know, we have in our market $29 coupons. You know, it's like somebody saying we have a $9 oil change. Come on in for the $9 oil change. You can't get 7 quarts of oil for $9. It's a loss leader. It's trying to get somebody inside of your home. Again, I touched on it earlier. We've done 130,000 duct cleaning jobs, and we've never sold a thing inside a customer's house. So we're there just to do the duct cleaning, okay? a company that does these coupons. It's a bait and switch. And they've been, Mike has worked through NADCA for years fighting these companies. And Dateline NBC has done stuff on it, Fox News, everybody's done stuff to combat these bait and switch companies. They're less of a problem today, in my opinion, than they have been in the past because of what's happening. So kind of the answer to the last question first is that, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Get your training, get your proper equipment, get some experience, and you'll be good to go.
Okay, thank you, Tom. So Mike, why don't you handle kind of the first part of the question then? Are you able to clean an entire home duct system with one-man crew? How long does it take? And what's the average bill per home? I think price, might be what they mean.
Depends on the system. It depends on the project. We run one and two-man crews typically for our residential projects. And again, it kind of goes by the size and the setup. And then on larger residential and commercial projects, we have multiple teams that are going together. I don't want to get into our pricing and so forth, but any good duct cleaner is probably, I think there's some guidelines out there that say that consumers should expect at least $500 to $700 for a duct cleaning. Some markets that number's higher. Definitely the low baller ones and what Tom was talking about, these coupons and these $99 specials that people see. I would just really suggest that you not spend your time thinking about that. So people that are attracted to that are in all likelihood they're certainly not going to be my customer. If they really are entertaining that as something realistic. So we don't really concentrate on that too much. We use differentiators like the way that we carry ourselves, what our equipment looks like, what our technicians look like, our reviews online, our certifications through the National Air Duct Cleaners Association. All those things speak volumes of who we are, and we don't really worry too much about the bait and switch guys out there.
Yep. Okay. Very good. So we had two questions that are similar, so I'm gonna kind of combine them and I'll answer them real fast. We have one question about does Aeroseal duct sealing work with flex duct, and then does it work with fiberboard duct? The answer in both cases is yes. The technology, the way it works is it's all about a pressure drop. We're pressurizing the ductwork. Air is moving from high pressure to low pressure. So where there are leaks, the air is moving out of those leaks, and our sealant follows the air moving out. And as it escapes through that hole, the particles collide and they form a seal. I'm explaining that super fast, but that's the basic concept of how it works. So it's not so much the material, it's all about pressurizing the duct system. So absolutely, yes, we can do sheet metal, flex, duct board, you name it. No concerns there. So there we go. I got those answered for us. Okay, so we're a question here. What is NADCA, or what are you referring to? So you guys are both NADCA members. Would you please take a minute to explain what it is and why it's so important? Sure. Let's start with Tom.
Okay, sure. The NADCA is the National Air Duct Cleaners Association. Michael's father and some other founders, I think it was in Cincinnati many years ago, they got together, and believe it or not, they were trying to get away from a group of people called gluers. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah. And they were all truck owners too. The guy that brought them together wanted to differentiate and have a group of truck owners that buy his trucks, turned into NADCA.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a ulterior motive there, but it all turned out great. And I can tell you, and even back to the 90s when I got started, it was really the Wild West of, we had guys out there doing, with a single truck, would do 7 jobs a day, and it was all based on telemarketing and all this crazy stuff. And they weren't really doing anything. And then NADCA set forth standards, and they said, how clean is clean? What is clean? Here's how you determine whether a system is clean or not. They also have done a great job with training, consumer information. All those things have made such a big impact and taken the industry to $1 billion industry today. It is when Mike, I saw Mike in San Diego in March at our trade association meeting, and we've probably seen each other for the last 25 years at these meetings. And it used to be a couple hundred people. Now it's 1,500 to 2,000 people. So it is a very fast growing organization, and is also really doing a great job of training their people and setting forth standards.
Yep, very good, thank you. Okay, so next question here is kind of a technical question, and I'll start the answer, and then Tom and Mike, if you have anything you want to add to it, please do. So the question is, as you seal the duct, you increase static pressure on the HVAC system. Are you concerned about this? And if so, how do you address? So Robert, thank you for that question. Very good question. Are we concerned? Absolutely. Are you raising static pressure? Yes. We train our guys, our technicians, through the certification process to do a static pressure test before and after. If not before, definitely after, to ensure that it's not too high. So yes, we train our guys how to look for that and what to do if it is. So Mike and Tom, I don't know if you guys want to add to that a little bit. Mike, let's start with you.
My technicians are a little more heavily involved in that, but yeah, testing for static pressure definitely is a component. You're going to have an increase when you seal most of these systems. When you seal them, you're going to have an increase. We get into some things that help on the back end of that, like maybe adding some return grills, things like that that help with those things. And there's some other parts of the system that you could get into making recommendations, or if it's something that you do, filtration, coils, coil cleaning, all those things are going to affect your pressures in the duct.
Tom, anything you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. The static pressure, the system when it was designed was not designed with 35% duct leakage built into it. So our duct sealing, if we get it down to 2-3% duct leakage, certainly that can have an impact on the static pressure. But as Mike said, adding return, the newer furnaces have built in so much more flexibility as far as variable speed fans and things like that we can ramp up and down to compensate for that. But you definitely want to do those tests and make sure you're aware of that. When we first started doing Aeroseal, we would get concerns that people say, now I can hear the air. And I go, because it's no longer leaking. You don't have a bunch of holes in your dam anymore, so you went from leaking 35% to leaking 2%. So I think the increase in static shows that the system's being sealed up. And none of these systems, when they designed them in 1997 or whenever they put the system in, they didn't say, you know what, let's put in this 3-ton HVAC system and we'll put in this ductwork, but we'll plan on having 35% of leakage. So, one thing I would tell you too, that there are bad designs out there. We have townhomes in our market that will have no return on the 3rd floor. And the customer will go, hey, will Aeroseal fix this? I go, Aeroseal will make the most of your bad design. You need to have a return on your top floor to help remove heat and humidity. So Aeroseal will make the best out of a bad situation. But if you have a bad design to start with, that's something that HVAC contractor will have to address.
Yep, that's a great way to put it, Tom. I need to start following you around with a little notepad. I just love the way you put things. Okay, so next question we have here is there cleanup needed from the Aeroseal material in the home after treatment? So, all right, Derek, thank you for the question. I'll start with the answer, and then Mike and Tom, if you want to add, please do. Hopefully not is the answer, but we train our dealers before the sealing process to make sure that you are covering the valuables in the home, just in case. So it's a precautionary measure. And then we also teach and train our dealers to use scrubber fans to filter the air if any of the sealant gets out into the living space, what we want to do is either filter it into that air scrubber or keep the air moving and get it out of the house. So it's all about just making sure it doesn't settle on, you know, the baby grand piano. We don't want that to happen. But our sealant is water soluble. So a little bit of elbow grease, warm soapy water, and you can clean it up. Or a citrus-based cleaner. We'll also recommend citrus-based cleaners if any is to settle on the flooring, for example. Is there cleanup needed? The short answer is hopefully not. If you've taken the precautions and you've followed all the recommended procedures that we train, you shouldn't have any issues. If you do, we have recommended procedures for cleaning up. Tom, Mike or Tom, anything you guys want to add?
No, that's exactly, you hit right on the button.
Okay. So next question is, what's your average time on site for a sealing? So I'll give you guys a quick answer for across the network. And then really, Mike and Tom, I think it would be relevant to talk about how long it takes you to do a seal, and then how long does it take you to do a clean and seal in a day. So actually, let's just hear from you guys. Mike, how long does it take you to do a seal? And then how long does it take you to do a clean and seal?
So on our seals, I think that setting up is a good portion of the project right there. But from end to end, I think we're probably somewhere around 4 to maybe 5.5 hours for the actual sealing process. When we do a clean and seal, it's definitely achievable to do that all in one day. On some of our larger projects, it becomes a multi-day type deal, but it goes pretty quick.
Yep. Tom, how about you? About the same?
About the same.
Yeah, okay, very good. Another question from Adam. We are starting up our first sealing trucks this month. Congratulations. Do you run a one-person crew or a two-person crew for sealing? Well, we're going to recommend that you run a two-person crew, always. Unless it's new construction, you're going to want 2 people. And I know both Mike and Tom are going to nod their heads and they're going to tell you that they use 2 technicians. Reason being, you want one to kind of man the computer, and then you're going to want the other guy to walk the job. Keep eyes on all of those foam blocks. Make sure that there's not overspray. You don't want those oops circumstances, right? So you want somebody walking the job, being eyes and ears throughout the sealing process, just to make sure everything's running the way it's supposed to. Mike, Tom, would you say anything differently?
No, we have between 2 to 3 people on every Aeroseal job.
Very good. All righty. Let's see. I think that's the same question there. Okay. All right. So Rich is asking, does Aeroseal have a recommendation for duct cleaning equipment? I'm not going to say anything different than what Tom and Mike said. We wouldn't tell you to go with the cheap and easy route. The power vac type options are going to be the ones that we lean to, and the reason being the prep work and the way you do the job is so similar to Aeroseal that it just makes sense to use that type of equipment and follow that kind of a process versus the cleaning, I don't want to name any particular names, but going into the registers and using the brushes inside each register. You're not going to see the same kind of time savings, and I don't think you're going to see the kind of effectiveness. So I would say the same thing Tom and Mike said. Okay, so next question is cleaning efficiency photographs are provided, but how to show cleaning related to fungi and bacteria. Oh, okay, I think I understand. So photographs are great to show that you've cleaned, the before and after, you can see that. But how do you provide evidence that you've made an improvement in terms of mold, bacteria, that kind of stuff? Tom, we'll start with you.
first off, we never use that term mold. It's a four-letter word. We're not experts in any way, shape, or form. I've done this for 25 years. Somebody called an industrial hygienist that would come out and create a protocol that if you, and Mike said it earlier, if you have suspected microbial growth. I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a biologist. My third year of biology was my best year of biology, so it wasn't my strong suit. So that's biology 1. I mean, it took me 3 years to get through that.
There we go.
But what happens is it's not our position as a duct cleaner to quantify the results on that. It would be a third party. It would be an industrial hygienist who does have a laboratory, does do those things. And I would be very cautious after all of our years of doing this to go down that course of being HVAC mold remediation contractors. We use the term treat. Okay, we're not sanitizing. We're not doing anything along those words. We treat the system for antimicrobial with an EPA registry and antimicrobial. So you do not want to go down the avenue of becoming a HVAC mold remediation contractor. There's just too much liability and too much unknowns.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Very good. Mike, I don't know, anything you wanted to add to that?
I think Tom hit the nail on the head. It's checking your own homework. You can get yourself into some trouble. So it's great to have third parties that you have relationships with and let them come in and check the work with a steer clear of those conflicts.
Yep. Also, I want to take a quick moment here. We're running a little long, and if folks need to drop off, that's okay. Thank you for joining us. I am going to continue to answer the questions that have been sent in. Also, just take a look on the screen here. If you guys who are listening, if you're interested in a free business review or to learn more about Aeroseal, you can reach out to Jared Scott. He is our National Sales Director. His contact information is there on the screen. And then also, we're always interested in hearing what kind of topics you guys would like to hear more about in the future. So send any topic ideas that you have. Send those to the email address that you see listed on the screen as well. And then for those of you who are getting ready to leave, I'll just take a quick moment to say thank you so much for joining us today. I know it's hot outside and I know you're really busy right now, so thank you for taking the time. We really do appreciate it. And what I'm going to do is kind of skip to closing remarks from Tom and Mike, and then we'll go ahead and come back to these last few questions so we can get answers for those folks. One more quick housekeeping note. I should have said this at the beginning. We are recording this session, so at the end, we will send out a link to the recording so everybody has that as well. And you can share it with other folks inside your company. So let's go to Mike, if you would. How about some closing remarks for the audience?
Our journey with Aeroseal has been a little different than most. We're one of the earliest contractors to get in, and we didn't take advantage of a lot of the things that they have developed over the years. We didn't even know they were happening, and we're kind of reinvigorated recently. I have to tell you that the tools, the support that the staff and the tools that you give people in the toolbox, the training, networking with other dealers like Tom, it's really fantastic. We also touched on NADCA. I'll tell you, NADCA is a great organization. I think that everyone that should check it out. It's definitely worth it. It's not a way to take your money. They offer great networking, great support, certification programs, and they do a little bit of hands-on training in their technical event. And if you ever want to check out air duct cleaning training, you can always go to safetyking.com. That's something that we've done since the mid-'80s. We've had hundreds of air duct cleaners come in and work with us to learn how to clean air ducts or clean them better. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Tom?
Yeah, I just echo the same thing Mike has said. Just really, Tracy and her team do a tremendous job. They are very committed to making the Aeroseal network, every single person successful. Kind of a rising tide lifts all ships. They really do a great job with from their Jumpstart, they're all their Kickstart, all their different programs they have to get people engaged, re-engaged, marketing toolbox. Lean on Tracy and her team once you become an Aeroseal dealer, and you'll be amazed at the results that come from that.
Well, thanks, Tom. That's I appreciate hearing that. And we love working with our dealers, and we're always cheering for them and happy to support you guys in every way that we possibly can. So I appreciate you saying that. All right, so we'll go back to last few questions that we have here. Is it safe to assume the seal lasts forever? We're not going to use the term forever. Aeroseal comes with a 10-year warranty. I have some dealers across the network who offer a lifetime warranty. It's not transferable. So what they'll do is they'll say, as long as you live in the home, we guarantee it, right? And you're welcome to do that as well. The original seals that were done in the late 90s, they were done by Dr. Modera, who is the inventor of our technology. He's still on staff with us today, and he can verify that those original seals are still holding strong today. We've tested it in the lab. It's stress tested to last beyond 40 years. But I'm not going to use the term forever, because some lawyer out there, I'm kidding. There's my answer. So, all right. Okay. On a, I'm not sure if I understand this question. Let me think about it for a second. On a home. It's a pricing question, and I'm not sure that either of you are gonna want to answer this, but we'll see if we can arrive at some kind of ballpark to help Greg. He's asking, on a home that's about 2,100 square feet, how much would the Aeroseal cost apart from the normal cleaning and sealing? So before I put you two on the spot, let me see if I can help a little bit with a ballpark. When you bundle anything, any services, and this is not exclusive to just our industry, in general, when you look at bundled services, you'll see a savings of about approximately 15%. So if you were to buy those services independently, you're going to spend a little bit more. By combining them, bundling them, there's a savings for the homeowner, and there's a savings for you too as the provider. It might be a little less, could be a little bit more, but on average, we'll give it around 15% savings. So I'm not avoiding the answer, but the reason I'm not giving you a very specific answer, and I'm not going to put too much pressure on Tom and Mike, is our dealers are free to price however they need to price in their own markets. The way things work in New York City or Chicago, Illinois, are going to be a little bit different than they do in Mobile, Alabama. So pricing needs to be a little bit flexible for each of those markets. But I will give Tom and Mike an opportunity to chime in if you want to help answer this question a little bit.
The best way I would say it, I again, going back to food, which is really the critical thing in my world, look at steakhouses. If you look at, I would consider us an Outback Steakhouse, or a Lone Star or a Logan's or some middle it's very predictable, it's high quality, you know what you're going to get when you go there. There are some people that consider themselves Morton's or Ruth's Chris or these really high level boutique style. We had a NADCA member one time. He came to me and he says, Tom, what are you charging for duct cleaning? I told him the rough range, and he goes, well, I won't go to a house for more than $1,500. I said, how many did you do last year? He said, 50. I said, well, we did 10,000. And I said, that's great that you did 50, but how did you pay your rent? It's great to be a boutique. You can sell cupcakes for $14, but unless you have a line going out the door, it's not going to help. So go back to thinking about yourself as a steakhouse. Are you going to be Sizzler, Ponderosa, Golden Corral? You're going to be Outback, or you're going to be that? That's a decision you're going to have to make whatever business you're in, whether you're already in the HVAC business, carpet cleaning, or whatever else you're in, you need to make that determination where you're going to fall inside the market.
I love it. Mike, you have a steakhouse example as well, or?
No, I was just a straight numbers example. Typically, our sealing process is going to be about 3 times what our duct cleaning process is, and it's got a lot of, if you know how to do them and you're in and out of there, there's a lot of profitability there.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity.
Awesome. All right, we're going to answer one more question, and then we're gonna say thank you and have a great day. All right, last question. Training and certification needed for Aeroseal duct sealing. Where and how long? So yes, absolutely. It's a patented technology, so you must have certified personnel, certified technicians on staff in order to operate the equipment. We take that seriously. We want to maintain a certain quality across the network. So yeah, we want to make sure you know what you're doing. So the training initially is a 2-day on-site training at your location. Begins with a little bit of classroom, but it's mostly hands-on. So we'd like to get out there inside a house. We usually recommend like an employee home or a family, someone in your circle of family and friends. So it's a safe environment to practice and learn. But it's an on-site hands-on training. And then outside of that, you heard Tom mention my team, my department, we're responsible for all of the ongoing training and support. So if you need additional training after that first 2-day, we've got all kinds of different classes. And one blessing that's come of this pandemic is we've been creating online resources because we had to. So we're able to conduct virtual trainings much more effectively now. And we have a lot of different classes that we offer for that ongoing training reinforcement. Thank you all so much, but a big special thanks to Tom Keys and Mike Palazzola. Thank you so much. You guys really appreciate it. I think hearing from you guys made this the best presentation ever. So thanks bunches. You guys all have a great day, and send us your questions and reach out to Jared and or the marketing team at info@aeroseal.com.